All right, boys, let's get into it. Best bets, as is tradition. We start with last week's winners first. Eric, as the lone winner last week, you're up. Who do you like and why?
Yeah, as I said, and somebody said I was a Freudian slip. I said Rams, but I am rooting for the Lions. But I'm going to go head over heart here. I like the Rams -3. I like it out to -110 for all the reasons I said before. McVay is a Hall of Fame coach. He showed that this year. I mean, they didn't even sign a kicker until like August this year, and they really hadn't had one for most of the season that was above replacement level. But they still were able to put together offense that was well above average for most of the season. They were able to put up defense that was about average all season. And they know all Jared Goff's secrets. And the Lions last week, they got injuries to about 4 or 5 key contributors. I just think in this one, 3 is way too much. So take the Rams +3 -110.
All right. +3 -110 on the Rams. That's a tough one always. When you're in attendance at the game, cheering for the home team, but you got to bet on, I guess it's a win-win. It's a win-win in that type of situation. Suma, it's on to you next. There's still time for Hitman to catch you somehow this season with the amount of plays we have left. So this is very important, Suma. Very important. Your best bet this week. Who do you like and why?
I'm going to buy a cheesehead before Sunday to get the good mojo going, I guess. I like the Packers. My bet is basically on the Packers offense, that they have enough talents and potential to stay within the number here. We talked about it. I don't like the Dallas defense overall. They are terrible against the run. They are bad against the one concept that the Packers with Aaron Jones excel in. Dallas defense, average success rate against play action. I think stylistically it bodes very well for the Packers. Yes, it's a very young offense, inexperienced with young receivers, but I give Matt LaFleur the benefit of the doubt. I think that their offense can stay in there, and for that reason, I like the Packers catching 7. Yes, let's go with that.
All right. Moving on here. Hitman, since you went 0-2 last week, I'm going ahead of you because I only went 0-1. I'm going to try to give a winner here. It's the game we talked about last. There's not a large margin here in terms of room to bet it out to, but I like the Bucks +3 -115. I would play that only up to -118. Again, fine margins in the playoffs in the NFL, but that's the numbers I have on the game. There's a lot that's going into this that is a little bit of guesswork, but I'm assuming the best for the Philadelphia Eagles offense in that their players are going to play. Anything outside of that is a little bit more upside. I'm just not a believer in the Eagles. I've been fading them for a while now. I don't think the market has truly caught up to how bad this team is, especially on the defensive side of the ball where they cannot stop a nosebleed. The Bucs will try to run the ball. We know that they're going to do some things on first and second down that will drive us crazy. But if we look down the stretch here, especially since Matt Patricia has taken over for the Eagles, the run defense has really been an issue for them as well. I hold out maybe a little bit more hope for Tampa Bay's offense than I have had in weeks past, just because Philadelphia has not been able to stop anyone. On the other side of the ball, you got a quarterback who's coming out and saying he can't even throw a ball right now, hasn't thrown it for the entirety of the week. You got banged up number 1 and number 2 receiver. I think this is big problems. The Eagles offense down the stretch. I mean, last week against the New York Giants, and technically was a game that they were trying to win. They got blown out of the water in the first half playing their starters against that team. I just can't get to the number here. So I'm taking the Tampa Bay Bucks +3 -115 as my best bet. And we're going to end it off here with Hitman. And we're going a little bit different this week. I told Hitman he doesn't really like the games. And that's fair. That's fair. Doesn't have strong opinions on the games, but he does have an opinion on a prop, and we're going to let him have it. When you have 2 wins on the season, we're going to let you give out a prop. Hitman, what are you giving out and why?
All right. It's a new season. We're 0-0 right now. Let's start fresh. We're going with a prop. If you want me to pick a game next week, Venmo me. I'll give you DM me, Venmo me. I'll give you my Venmo. Whoever sends me the most money, I'll pick against your team or that week, so your team can win. I'm going to take CJ Stroud under 245.5 passing yards. So Cleveland plays the second most man coverage in the NFL, and Stroud this year, as great of a year as he had, 20th out of 32 quarterbacks against man coverage and EPA per play. Cleveland also was second in the NFL in pressure rate. CJ Stroud, as we mentioned earlier, was a little bit more sensitive to pressure than the average quarterback this year. Cleveland, when they faced against Houston's offensive line earlier in the season, without Stroud wasn't the quarterback, but they were able to pressure their quarterbacks 43% of the time. This line closed in the high 250s last week, and that's against the Indianapolis Colts, who, like, when you're playing quarterback overs, the Colts were this year one of the top teams that we would look to play overs against, just because of the play volume that you would get against them, along with just how bad their defense was. I don't think this number is adjusted enough from last week. And let's be honest, last week I bet the over against the Colts on CJ Stroud's passing yards. Like, I got very lucky in that, where it took an end of a game drive where Stroud had some ridiculous completions. One of those to Nico Collins on the right sideline on 3rd and long. It was a lucky win. And I just think that the loss of Tank Dell is catching up to Houston a little bit. Noah Brown being banged up in this game, Robert Woods being banged up in this game. Your only real legit weapon right now in the passing game is Nico Collins. The fact that they look to run the ball so often on 1st and 2nd down, CJ Stroud's really been killing it off efficiency, but the Browns are a defense that doesn't allow efficiency. I just think the line is at least a few yards too high. So we're going to go with CJ Stroud under his passing yards.
All right. Our final bet there. Our first official prop best bet on the show.
We're undefeated in prop bets right now.
It's true. We were undefeated, though, in people giving out 2 best bets in 1 week as well until last week. And we all know how that ended. So hopefully we get a better fate here. We get a better fate. But Eric going with the Rams, Suma going with the Packers, Hitman, CJ Stroud unders. I'm taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.